of the IEBC Amendment Act, which is the only statute signed into law following the National Dialogue Committee deliberations. Now that, as we have said before, Azimio had nothing to do with it, and we are not here to talk about Azimio, because a lot has been happening within Azimio itself. For purposes of reconstitution of the IEBC selection panel, it was the Kenya Kwanza coalition side and the Azimio side and others, the faith-based organizations and others. So now we demand that President William Ruto moves with speed to now put in place the 9-person selection panel for the IEBC, leading, of course, into the formation and reconstitution of the IEBC. There can be no other pretense. Others, as I said, were blaming us, and this was not an application in Kiambu. This was a state-sponsored application, and we are happy they have ordered whatever it is, a judge in Kiambu. We don't want to criticize that ruling. But now, the other matter in the Court of Appeal by Mr. Augustine Muli can continue because there are no orders. There are no orders in that matter before the Court of Appeal. The orders were only out of the Kiambu court. Therefore, this is a second opportunity, and I spoke about this last time when my good friend Weta, he still remains my very good friend, by the way, in spite of the talks I've had out there in the West. So this is a time for him to forward the names. As chairperson of the Parliamentary Service Commission, I think it is the Senate, or is it the Senate clerk who is supposed to forward these names forthwith to the president, and the president should immediately put in place the IEBC selection panel. On Monday, we hope to come up with a very clear statement on what's going on in the meantime within the IEBC Secretariat itself. There are terrible things going on there, like procurement, and they're testing the ground. We gather there's somebody, a former commissioner sitting as an advisor in State House, who is giving instructions to the IEBC Secretariat. The country is watching, and they're testing waters. If we allow them to go on with the procurement, the next thing they want to do is even procure election materials for 2027, print them in excess of the numbers that will be there in order to further compromise the integrity of the election process. We also know that they have actually removed the server from IEBC to some other destination. Well, that is not our business now because our main principals do not seem interested. Tume ya uchaguzi ama selection panel ambayo itajihusisha sa na swala la uundaji upya kamati ama tume ya uchaguzi wa Kenya. Kazi hiyo ina umuhimu kabisa, na sasa hakuna takshishi, hakuna pingamizi, unless of course KK wanarudia tena na kuanzisha mambo mengine ambayo hatuwezi tukaelewa. But we have been vindicated. We have nothing to do with the delay. We have had nothing to do with this delay. And now we are urging, we are demanding. Remember, we said by March, if there's no movement towards the putting in place a new IEBC, we would get to the streets. There are those who think the Gen Zs have not been demonstrating. But you all know they are in the space. There are now demonstrations online, and Kenya can never be the same again. So that to be those are my remarks. My colleagues here will make further comments. I think we start with JN, and then our brother will complete because he has visitors in his backyard. Thank you.
Asante. Ni kuongezea tu kusema ya kwamba ni vyema William Ruto hakikisha kwamba IEBC commissioners are in place kwa haraka ili yaweze kunyoroshwa na opposition ambayo inaongozwa na Kalonzo Musyoka. Hii haitakuwa mambo ya yai ili anachorwa na hii ni kupagusa kabisa. Na ni asubuhi mapema amekaa akilialia mambo ya yai, sasa agoje kunyoroshwa na Kalonzo mwenyewe. La pili ni kusema ya kwamba the first task William had was to dismantle IEBC. We now have gone for more than 2 years without an IEBC. He seems set now to embark on this dismantling the judiciary. The removal of the security team or the security officers from the CJ's office, because we are dealing with the office, is an indication of a person who is still bent on capturing all these institutions. If he is unhappy with judgments coming from the judiciary, he should learn to live with them, like many have done in the past. But removing security from the Chief Justice is an attempt again to capture the institution like he has captured Parliament, he has captured IEBC, and he certainly wants to capture the judiciary. Na sisi tunataka kusimama na mambo ya mahakama na tuseme ya kwamba majaji wa mahakama waruhusiwa wafanye kazi yao bila maneno ya kuwasubua, hata kama hufurahii yale ambao wanatoa kama uamuzi. We demand the reinstatement of the security to the CJ and any other judicial officer whose security has been withdrawn. It is the only thing he can do. Ama pia achorwe.
Thank you very much. May I also join my colleagues in adding my voice to the issue of immediate reconstitution of IEBC, and to say that William Ruto has no excuse but to proceed and do the needful. The country is waiting. We have started the 3rd year of this administration, and we must start making the necessary preparations for the next elections. And as we prepare for that also, there's a matter of concern in terms of the tone that is being used by our colleagues. And today we want to call on the NCIC. When you listen to our colleagues who have been in Western Kenya for the last 1 week, that tour is being concluded today. The language that has been used is insightful. It's a language that is threatening certain communities and even directly threatening certain individuals. From coming to Western Kenya, I heard one individual say that Honorable Kalonzo should not step in Western Kenya. And this was said by a governor. My good friend Paul Otoma of Busia County made utterances that are insightful, that threatened violence against leaders and a particular community, the Mount Kenya community, which is now being targeted for demonization, for isolation. And this is language we've had before. We remember the 2007 general election and the 2008 post-election violence, when language of 41 against 1 was used. The language of madoa-doa, targeting certain communities. As we start entering the final phase of this administration and preparing for the next election, we didn't want to see this kind of language that will start poisoning the air ahead of the election. This is a language that can bring actually pre-election violence, and we have seen it in this country. We've seen election violence in this country, and we've seen post-election violence. And it comes out of language such as this. So we are, even as we challenge Mheshimiwa Ruto to proceed with speed on the reconciliation of IEBC, we also challenge NCIC. We've heard that they are threatening certain individuals. The law is uncharged. Would like to see Honorable Tuoma, who made similar statements, also charged, and others who have made similar statements. So that's what I want to say today. But as to my colleagues, I want to tell them you are all welcome to Western Kenya. In December, I hosted my colleagues. We had a very good time in Kakamega with Honorable Kalonzo Musyoka. We actually started the year together in Kakamega, in Trans Nzoia, and the people of Western Kenya are people of Mlembe. They are people of peace. They love visitors. And they were able to welcome Honorable Kalonzo very, very well. We also hosted Honorable Gashagwa in Kakamega, and the people of Kakamega were very happy to have him. So Honorable Tuoma, we are coming to Busia County. I'll soon be hosting my brothers there. We will also be going to Bungoma and other parts of Western where we didn't visit. So Western Kenya is Kenya, ladies and gentlemen, and we are all free to visit any part of this country. And as the opposition, wauze sera zao as the broad-based government, and as we're also broadening our opposition, we should be free to go to every corner of Kenya, twende tuuze sera zetu, and may the people of Kenya decide. Asanteni sana.
Are there any questions? We could. Yes, sir. Yes, Ibrahim.
When Kalonzo Musyoka and his troops are going to hit the ground. The team that you clearly be facing using government budgets is already hitting the ground.
Well, first of all, on delegitimizing the 2027 elections or sooner, would you not agree with me that it is them who are delegitimizing it by threatening violence, by refusing to constitute the IEBC, by continuing with abductions? Can you imagine a young Kenyan mother, not so young, this lady was abducted, Joki, for a misdemeanor. You don't, if it's a misdemeanor, you don't abduct. Look at the way that lady was arrested. You see these people in the process of really working up people's emotions, therefore delegitimizing the next contest. So, and if you look at a situation like this IBC, already we're in a crisis because the boundaries review has not been done. And yet under NADCO, we made specific recommendations that, for example, the period be extended as in JN to 14 or 15 years within which to carry out boundaries review. But already the country is in breach of a fundamental constitutional obligation. With regard to us, and I agree with you, these guys obviously are campaigning. But as they campaign, I advise them, if indeed they will take my advice, not to show open anger. Yani hasira ya ajabu. Umeiona hasira. Kumbukeni hasira ni hasara. Na kiburi kujipiga kifua. Kwa sababu tumesema tu kwamba if a company is in receivership, under receivership, like Mumia Sugar, how does a company under receivership issue bonuses? And therefore, Salasia was spot on asking them, Where are you getting this money from? First of all, it's very little. And I think Peter Salasi is still waiting to see which of the Mumia sugar outgrowers have gotten some money in the M-Pesa. Na hiyo inazua hasira. Hasira ya ajabu. Kwa hivyo wajiandae, tunakuja na tuna mipangilio yetu. Actually what we want to do is to come up with rallies which are going to be based on issuance of IDs to the Kenyan youth, the agencies and others, and combine that with the registration of voters. We will not be renting crowds. Have we not seen 1,000 watu watano chukueni, 1,000 ingine? Did we not see a whole senator dishing out money? Renting a crowd for a head of state? No. We will be coming to the people. But we're also telling our Kenyans, chukueni hizo pesa kama kawaida. Kwanza wasema 1,000 kwa watu watano haitoshi. Na tunajua ni kodi yetu. Chukueni. Kwa ghadhabu pia. And do like the people of Rwanda did. Told them off. So, I hope I've answered your question. Get the Secretariat joining with us. Registration of persons coming along with us. We understand that there's no registration of voters going on. In fact, the Secretariat itself should be given some little money to do voter education, which is continuous. But we know nothing, absolutely. Therefore, already in breach of the fact that registration of voters is a continuous exercise. That will be our #1 mission, even as we look at the other complications that continue. But the issue of governance to us is so important. Corruption everywhere. Ndio hii kitu inawauma sana. We'll continue to call them out because of what they are doing. Thank you. Asante. Thank you.